Call the meeting back to order, and there were no decisions made in executive session.
Thanks, Jim.
You're done?
Thank you. See ya.
Okay. Ryan?
Ready?
You've got a lot of paperwork for us.
Not going to go through much of it,
Are
so.
we going to read through that now?
No.
I'll hand it down.
Yep. Work. Nope, I wouldn't want to put you guys through that.
Oh, I guess.
Yeah, you just set one down there.
Back.
Yeah, she can have a
She's
copy.
not coming back for a while.
Yeah, all right, we'll get it to her. Alrighty, like I said, I'm not gonna go into too much detail on the actual financials since we'll be doing 21 here shortly and getting going on budget and all that good stuff. So, main thing I did want to address is just, I guess, the whole process and the timing of everything and all that good stuff. You know, as you guys are well aware, it kind of started out as a mess with the situation with the treasurer's office, and I think I would like to say that Don did a very commendable job of getting it caught up quickly.
Don't brag on it.
And so, yeah, she got everything caught up there for us, because the problem was we couldn't even start anything until, you know, everything's in balance and caught up on as far as the bank recs and all that good stuff. So we got that taken care of and then got going, and then drug out longer than we anticipated just because we were having some issues with the federal compliance audit that we have to do for the Spark grant. There's a separate fund for that, bank account, and then some reports that were submitted to the government. We were having issues where, well, a lot of different things, where some transactions got posted into the fund that shouldn't have been there, some got posted other places that should have been in there, some stuff hit the bank account that wasn't agreeing with the general ledger, and then some of the stuff on the reports didn't match up to the general ledger or the bank account. And so just trying to get all three, I guess, reconciled out and agreeing with each other the way they should have. And I think some of the reports were corrected that had been submitted previously. So I think we finally got it all to where it all balanced out like it should, but that was quite a process and quite a bit of extra time. That's what drug it out.
Trying to find it.
Yeah, trying to find
We
everything.
thought we'd find it.
Yep.
Yeah,
And there was a lot of, not necessarily big dollar items, but just a lot of different transactions that you had to track down, and it was just and
The biggest thing is there was one transaction, what was it, 13,000?
yeah, yep,
The
something.
former treasurer
Yep.
took out of
Yep, and that added to the
one
problems.
account instead of this account.
Yep, yep, that was a lot of the problem.
Took Dawn to
and-
find it.
Yep, it took quite a bit of effort for everybody to find everything, but we definitely preferred going that route of trying to get everything corrected instead of submitting a audit that had a bunch of findings of stuff not matching and causing problems with the federal government, and, you know, potentially having to pay money back or something like that. We didn't want to go down that route, so we wanted to definitely take the extra time to get it all cleaned up as best we could, and I think we finally got there. So anyway, that's kind of long and short of the issues we had there. You know, it's kind of the same thing we had at a lot of the counties that we had to do those audits on, was the person administering the grant, doing some of the reporting, stuff like that, was usually somebody that was outside of the normal financial reporting structure. I'd say it was usually, some places it was emergency management, some places it was other departments, but whenever you get somebody involved that's not necessarily, I guess, accustomed to being part of the normal financial structure of the county, it just can lead to these problems. And we had similar problems several places, just trying to track down all the documentation we needed and getting everything the way it should be. So, and then we were kind of learning on the go as they were putting the rules out kind of after the fact, after some of the money's already spent, and then we didn't even have the audit programs and documentation that we have to fill out. It wasn't even complete till later in the year in 21, and it was just it was a mess. And we will be very glad to put those all behind us, and hopefully we never have to deal with something that major again. And so anyway, hopefully for 21 we'll get back on this year, get back on a more normal schedule. I was just talking with Don. I think we are in a lot better shape as far as going into the budget process for this year. Should have, all the information up to date and know, I guess, actual numbers to where we can prepare a better budget and have a lot better idea going into that budget process of where everything's at. And so hopefully everything's cleaned up going forward. So, I mean, if you guys have any questions or anything you do want to look over, I'd be happy to. If you want to just we can glance at the summary financial statement, which just shows it'd be like on page 4 of the big packet. It just shows all the funds and the activity and beginning and ending balances and that type of thing. I was looking through it yesterday and nothing really stuck out to me. I think most of the funds actually ended, higher cash balance at the end of 20 than what it started at. And I think with that probably, here,
Thank you.
and probably, like I said, that should help going into 21 and then hopefully with the budget this year, so.
You say we have a higher cash balance on most of our items?
Yep, most funds had an increased cash balance. General was up about 630 or so thousand. Road and Bridge was about the only one I think that went down some, but then a lot of that was transfers over to equipment reserve and improvement funds, and those actually went up quite a bit. So, yeah, I think, as far as that goes, everything cash balance wise is in pretty decent shape at this point. And probably we'll start getting the 21 numbers here shortly and get them going so we can get some preliminary information for the budget. And
Are the end of the year audit transfers in here too, so that because some of the department heads are asking for their equipment reserve.
I assume 20s have already been made, or maybe
You
not.
sent them to me.
I was gonna say,
but
we
you said
sent
they
'em.
were final, so.
Okay, I'll check on that and see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, all the transfers would be in here, but probably better double check what, because I know, well, in the past, Dolores said she would sometimes enter some but not others type thing, and so, yeah, need to figure out if there's any that need to be made for 20, and then, like I said, when we get 21 stuff, then we can.
Yeah, and I have a transfer sheet that I found that has original signatures on it, but I can't find where it was actually done.
Okay.
So I'd like
Yeah.
for you to look at that so we can.
Yeah.
Because I think it was an end of the year thing that needed to be done that.
Yep, usually they pass the end of your resolutions and then,
Yeah, it was a resolution.
yep, yeah, we'll make sure those are all done, and like I said, then we can calculate 21s too and make sure those all get posted here before long, so that way you got the money over there where it should be.
I noticed a lot of these, like, handicap equipment, rural health care. There's no expenditures, and like rural health care's got 117,000. What do we use that money for?
Rural health care, I don't know. The handicap one is what we talked about at the last meeting for Lions Club.
Right.
I think that the rural health care that'd have been a grant.
For Mila, I believe.
Oh, it's from Island,
I believe so.
but no expenditures.
I was trying to think when that,
Was there?
no, doesn't look like for 20. I think that was,
Milo's a different one.
yeah, this was, just trying to think, I think it started in 2019 maybe. and it was, I'm sure it was a grant, I think it was ambulance, partially ambulance anyway, and there might have been some others involved. So I think, that's been long enough ago now, I can't remember exactly, but yeah, me too.
Yeah, Mila's is the health grant down at the bottom.
Can I grab a pen real quick? So I'm making a note on here and we'll check and see. Because, yeah, something. So it does.
But I mean, even like that special parks and recreation,
Yep, that's one that,
you know, there's quite a few of these little ones that,
yep,
where money's coming in, and I'm sure it's not,
yep, like special parks and rec and special alcohol, that's your liquor tax, money the county receives. Typically,
should we be trying to use it?
it seems like counties struggle on,
That was,
That was,
that was the funny one that,
we couldn't figure out the balance of it.
well, no,
Right.
that was, the
Right.
previous treasurer spent that money and sent the check to,
Right.
and spent that money without discussing that with you. So that got stopped, so now it's just sitting there. It's up for your discretion to use it for things, and we can get the statute on what to use it for.
There's,
But I think last year you spent some of it for the veterans.
yeah, and the
And
flags
the
and,
flags of
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
but that was
But that's in
special
20,
alcohol, right?
that's, no, I think it's parks.
I thought it was special alcohol
That
and
was in
tobacco.
21 though. It was last year that you spent that, this is 20.
yeah.
But we spent, like special alcohol, we spent quite a little. I thought it was alcohol and tobacco tax that we spent that for the flags and the.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, a portion,
And,
Well, the liquor.
both those funds,
The liquor
Liquor.
distribution that I get funds both of those
yeah,
line items, the special alcohol and the special parks.
yeah.
So I think maybe that's where you're thinking that you spent alcohol money. Maybe not necessarily out of special alcohol, but I don't know. That was before me.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's one that tends to, seems like does kind of accumulate places and doesn't get.
and really you don't
spent.
have a place to spend.
Yeah, it seems like counties do kind of struggle finding appropriate places because it is limited on what you can use
What
it
you
for.
can use it for, yeah.
And, you know, cities, seems like it's a lot easier for them to spend it because they can just, you know, they have a lot of parks and stuff like that that they can spend the money on that they're upkeeping and stuff like that. And it seems like counties struggle a little bit more finding appropriate places to use it, but yeah, I mean, it is something to keep in mind that you do have that money there to use, so.
No, thank you.
Yep. And do you have that, another one, I was just looking through, like you said, on ones that didn't have any activity, you guys probably know, but that oil and gas valuation depletion fund, that's still sitting there, 118,000, that pretty much can be used for whatever purposes you need.
Really?
Yep. What's that?
We could buy a generator for the courthouse with it?
Yeah, yep, that was money that came in here, you know, several years back, and,
It was 300 and
yeah,
some
just, I think
thousand,
some of it was
they
used
gave
to,
some of it to the airport.
yep, some of it was used to fund other stuff.
But when it's gone, it's gone.
Right,
Yeah, it doesn't
yep,
come
it's
back.
not a,
That was, the state gave it to us and it,
kind of a one-time deal, and, yep,
Yeah.
yep, so,
we need to use it judiciously.
yeah, lots of places, that's kind of been the strategy, is they've been
A
just using
generator would be
it
great.
as needed,
I
so,
mean, as long as you're using it to pay personal property tax in the county,
Yeah,
Yep.
isn't that a good use of it?
yeah.
yep, and, so, yeah,
If we ever get all the guidance, we also have that ARPA money.
yeah.
That
Possibly
guidance,
That guidance pretty much says you can spend it on whatever you please.
I know
It's a weird deal.
some courthouses are using it for like windows
So the county
and.
get an
Yep.
airplane.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, yeah.
Some of them spin it and they didn't come out with guidance till January.
Yeah, the official guidance came out in January or something, and basically, because originally the way it was structured, I got to dig through that whole long regulation there back in January to help some clients out, but originally the way it was written up and passed as law, it said that you had to demonstrate a 10% revenue loss year over year to qualify, basically. And then when they came out with the Treasury regulations, it said we automatically assume that everybody that received it qualifies, and you don't have to actually prove that you had a revenue loss. So at that point, it allows you to use it for any general services that a government provides normally, or something to that effect, which it's basically open-ended to where you can use it for about anything you want. And one thing I think there's some restrictions. You're not supposed to use it for economic development and a couple other minor things, but it shouldn't be a problem to find ways to,
We could build our own power station.
yeah.
It's good going into budget season, knowing
Yep.
that we have that oil and gas money
Yeah.
and we have the ARPA money
Yep.
and stuff, so we don't necessarily, I mean, some,
Yeah, it can help
it helps the
offset.
budgets,
Yep,
definitely.
yep, definitely can.
Well, with the way fuel's going up.
As I say, the way everything's gone up, yeah, anything you can get like that'll help you out. And like you said, anything like that, yeah, if it's something needed, it's there to use, but like you said, don't go crazy and go, buy a bunch of stuff that you don't necessarily need. And like I said, nice to have that cushion there, I guess, help you out.
Can you explain the home for the aged multi-year capital improvement?
The what?
Home for Age multi-year capital improvement. Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
Oh, it's just always been interesting. No, that's,
That's where the leftover money goes,
right, yeah.
that they don't
Yeah.
spend goes into that.
Yep, within the general fund, you got the Home for the Aged, budget. Let's try to see what page that would be on. Okay.
Do we make the bond payment out of that?
No, that's separate.
Yep, that would be.
There's 6 mills to cover the bond.
Yeah, because that's kind of why I laughed there, because there's two separate 6 mills basically, and that was the whole source of confusion there at one point that we had to get all ironed out. But basically, within the general fund, there's a 6 mil levy for the Home for the Aged that covers expenses, just the operating expenses or whatever, and then any excess portion of that 6 mils that's not used in the current year for expenses, that's what gets transferred over into that Home for the Aged multi-year capital improvement. Basically accumulates, and then you can, if you have expenses over and above what's budgeted in the general fund for a year, then you can pay it out of that other fund, and it's not budgeted, so you're not restricted by budget over there. And then, like you're saying, there's a separate 6 mil levy. Let's see what the name of that one is. That separate 6 mil levy is used to pay the bonds every year. Just trying to think where that is. I think that actually is, yeah. So that goes over into the, it's actually on that summary statement you're looking at is clear down on the or on page 5 on the next page, right at the end of that. There's the Cheyenne County Public Building Commission Bond and Interest Fund there at the bottom. That's where the money goes in to pay the principal and interest on the bonds every year, and it zeroes out because it's just the exact amount, so.
many years did we set that bond up on? 30?
Alright, there's debt scheduling here, we can look at it. I might have to get my glasses on to see it on page 14, and there's a schedule of the debt. Looks like, yeah, it was done in 2018, 30 years through 2048. The balance as of the end of 20 was 4,778,515. And then that bottom part just shows the future payments on that, principal and interest for the years going forward, so.
You know, you'd have to refresh me. You said something about what doesn't come under the budget?
That, the Home for the Aged Multi-Year Capital Improvement Fund, that one.
But it has to be used for repairs?
Upkeep, I think.
Yeah, it's part of the contract and the
Yep.
resolution, I believe, won't it?
General upkeep and, yeah, repairs and maintenance and that kind of thing on Home for the Aged. And
Pretty good amount in there.
Don't wanna spend it.
Well, thanks for getting this done.
yeah, thanks for waiting, and I'm really excited to put it in a review mirror at this point and get her all filed and get moved on and start fresh and go forward for sure. So it's definitely been crazy 18 months or so, and we had, of course, quite a few of those Spark grant audits to do this year, and just, yeah, they were something like we'd never quite encountered before for sure. And like I said, the same way with this ARPA stuff, just the fact they didn't even get the guidance out, you know, they just start sending the money out and nobody really knows what you can spend it on, when. And the nice thing with ARPA is you got time to spend it. Yeah, so.
We only have half of it right now.
Yeah, so you don't, I mean, you can be patient with that, and that way you can, I don't know how much it was in total you're gonna get.
It was 560.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So the nice thing with that is where you got some time to spend it is you can spread the expenditures out, and then you won't have to have a compliance audit like we had to do on the Spark grant, because that's only if you're over $750,000 in federal expenditures for the year, and then that's when you have to have one of those done. And so if you can keep it under that, that's what we prefer to do, so we don't have to mess with doing one, because they're not fun. They are not fun at all to do, and not fun to have you guys pay for us to do it either. It's just extra pushing paper around to satisfy the federal government. So, but yeah, so yeah, that ARPA money, hopefully that'll work out a little better. But yeah, with the Spark, you know, you had the deadline of having to get it all spent, and it was just really interesting to see.
That one was fun.
Yeah, really interesting to see how everybody did it differently. And some of the stuff it got spent on, I don't know.
I went down to, it was a KAC, Kansas Association, down in Cova the other day, and they had the representatives there speaking. And they said they got so much money, they don't even know how they're gonna get it spent on roads and bridges. And one of the problems of is no contractors.
Yep, that's gonna be the issue.
Well, that's what we're running into on our bridges, why they're costing so much is they have so much state funding, they don't care about building a bridge out here. So
Yeah, that's exactly
they're
right.
gonna charge you more.
And then, I guess the state had a bunch of Spark money left over that they're still trying to get spent up, and doing some pretty major housing grants, I guess, and stuff, and still trying to get that all spent up there, and it's been weird for sure. And Yeah.
They said this is not part of your deal, but talking almost $1 million a mile now to resurface roads. 800 and some thousand a mile. To,
Well, I know they're-
like a 2-inch overlay and,
They're in Norton, they're getting ready to
yep.
redo Highway 36 through town. The rest of it, they've done part of it already, widening it out and pouring concrete, ripping everything out and pouring concrete. And they started the process a year and a half ago or something. You know, they thought they're getting some KDOT money and they thought they could fund it all locally, the balance that they were gonna have to pay. They thought they'd have enough money to fund it. And of course, now they're getting into it and getting the bids and everything. It's coming in astronomically higher than what they'd originally figured 2 years ago or whatever. And so now they're thinking the position they're gonna have to probably issue some bonds or something to cover the local match portion. And he was telling me some of the numbers the other day about how much it was gonna cost to do it. And, I mean, that's not a very big stretch of road through there. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I think they're doing a pretty good stretch of that Angle Road going out of Norton.
383, yep.
Down to, is it Alma or?
Yep, it goes out, drops out south of Alma.
I heard they're taking on, they're gonna take part of the old railroad right away so they don't have to purchase more land.
Yep, yeah, that's what I'd heard. And yeah, cause our house is just, well, we live like 5 miles northeast of Almena, so we're just right north of that highway. And right now they've got it closed like from Long Island east to the next highway, so like 12 miles they've been working on already. And some of the heard there, cause that's pretty hilly through there, but they're bringing in like 40 feet worth of fill in some places to try and level it out more. And the problem with it's hilly and it's curvy, and they're trying to straighten it out some, and so it's a pretty major undertaking.
Major,
And,
yeah.
yeah. And,
But they said how much money it was gonna save.
yep.
By using the railroad right away.
Yep. Yeah. That should help out, I'm hoping. Yeah, it's not gonna be fun when they get the east part of that closed for me, because that's the highway I always take to Norton. So already everybody's going cross country across there. Yep. Yeah, because the detours are either gotta go over to Phillipsburg and north, or north of Norton, basically double the distance either way. So anyway, see what happens with it, I guess.
No, thank you.
Yep, we'll get rolling and probably see somebody here for the budget here before too long and get that rolling.
Thank you, man.
Yep, thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, Don, do you wanna explain this to them? Marked where everybody needs to sign.
Okay, so the last meeting that I was here, I showed you the financials and I was gonna consolidate some of the monies to try and get better interest rates. The banks came back with some great stuff, so, at Western State, we had 3 individual low balance CDs. I'm combining them all into one, so we get a higher interest rate with a higher, principal. So better investment for us, but I need you to sign. It's just one CD, but there's 2 copies. So I think he flagged them all.
Do we all 3 sign or just?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's different parts where, different ones that you sign.
So when do we get checks so we can write on it?
Yeah, no.
We don't get checks.
Nope.
Okay.
Who's one when you wanna be interviewed by the KBI?
Yeah. And especially after your little remark with the auditors, I'm not giving you checks.
Where does this one sign?
That one's from Brett. So
Did you get everything else, Willie?
I'll double check them.
Okay, I think I got up to here.
That was the last one,
guess
so.
Guess I do have them all.
And this will make the auditor's life a little bit easier too, because they will have less accounts to have to verify. You're welcome, Roger.
Give them a nice more sign of flags. It's sign your flag
Makes it handy though.
after those two.
I'll look through that and find Willie's signature for him.
Tough on the copy.
There, Willie. So yeah, the interest rate went from 0.1 to 0.25, which, I mean, 0.25 is not an awesome interest rate, but it is, in this day and age, is probably the best that we can get at the moment. So I was pretty happy that they worked with us on that. Oh, Brett, there's one here for you. Awesome. So I just need yours. I'll keep them, because there's some for you in here too.
I thought I seen one. Did I miss? Flag. Well, at least I missed the same one.
Yeah.
Consistent.
Oh, that one. Okay, cool. Thank you. That's all I
Thanks,
have,
Dawn.
unless you guys. Okay.
Thank you.
Good day.
Morning. Morning.
Morning.
My name's Isaiah. I'm with Options in Hays, Kansas.
Okay.
I just wanted to show you show you our mobile chat features, and I also wanted to talk to you guys about we're trying to create more presence in the community. By doing that, I want to see. I won't be. This is my last time in St. Francis, but I will. But Isaac, I'm not sure if you guys have met him. His name's Isaac, but he's also a mobile advocate. He'll be out here covering the other 9 western counties. But I wanted to talk to you guys about creating more presence. We want to host events out here at the same capacity like we do in Hays and Colby, because we host events like we do. We did our What Were You Wearing event this month, and it was if you don't know what that is, it was an event. Basically, we had a bunch of our volunteer specialists got mannequins, and he dressed them up, and we had little comments that we would leave by each of the mannequins that would explain what happened to this person. And we had, and all of these victims that he dressed up were victims of sexual assault. And so we want to see about maybe if there's a building that we could host an event here in St. Francis, if there's a space that we could possibly use just to host events like our What Were You Wearing. We want to do something similar to Broken Brides as well. I'm not sure if you've heard about that, but it's also another domestic sexual violence it was I believe it was in like an art walk thing. It was like the person behind it, they created items that were like items that the abuser used to stalk, like a cell phone. Maybe they used a rope. Maybe it was a wedding dress. Like, and it was just and then you like grab a little handgun, and then you would scan the barcode, and then it would tell you the story about each of the items. And so we kind of want to do something similar to that too as well. But since this is my last time out here, I'm sure Isaac will be talking to you guys about that too. But I wanted to kind of just put that in your ear because I know he's going to be trying to get that going. I know. Do you guys have? I'm not sure. Do you guys have an economic development director here in St. Francis?
She's retiring, they're looking for another one.
Okay. Yep, that's probably who I need to go to for looking for a space, but kind of just wanted to see if that was, and also see if there was any volunteers in the community that might be willing to help us put on events that we have here in St. Francis. Just kind of an idea.
They have 202 on Washington. I don't know how big of an event they can handle right now, but
Okay.
that might be a place to.
Okay.
It's across the street from the.
And then there's the, is it VFW, is that one, not VFW?
American Legion.
American Legion in Bird
Bird
City,
City.
Okay.
which is a nice facility.
Yeah.
I don't know, can.
At the fairgrounds?
When are you talking this?
We have like we do whole presentations. We'll like talk to the principal about holding a presentation maybe in their auditorium. And some like our outreach advocate Desiree, she's actually gone to, I believe it was Oberlin the last time she gave a presentation. She gave a presentation at their high school, but I think she only gave it to a specific class. So, but yeah, we like kind of wanting to get everyone involved, just so you guys know that we're in the community. Kind of just we want. I know like a few of the communities that I've served before we split the counties. They have talked about options not really having like kind of feeling left out in what we're doing, like as far as events and things like that. And so we want to just make sure everyone is in the loop and included in everything that we do. And
Now-
then, I'm
Now,
sorry?
when were these were you thinking about? Maybe in 6 months, 2 months?
I know we have, our sexual assault month sexual assault awareness month is next month. We're having our Rock Against Rape next month, on the 7th. And they're doing a few events, so we might be getting a hold of you guys next month. But I don't think it will be like trying to plan something next month. Just trying to get a hold of you guys to schedule something out. But as far as that, I know they have Aniston's got. She's our campus advocate. She's got the Rock Against Rape going. She did the What Were You Wearing. She also is in Colby right now doing I cannot remember what it's called. She's doing walk a mile in her shoes. That's what she's doing at the Colby College. They're doing walk a mile today, and so she's just kind of been all over the place doing events and things like that. So I want to implement those in the other communities that we serve too.
I would think maybe like our county health nurse
Okay.
should be involved in something like that.
Sheriff too.
Yeah.
Sheriff's Department. More than like this commission,
Okay.
don't you think?
Yeah.
And
They're gonna
then
actually deal with it.
They're gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
we have the My Mobile Options app. That is specifically what I and Isaac do. It's I believe it's a new app. It's been new since I've taken this position. It's an app where you can submit a tip anonymously if you don't want people knowing who you are. If you're wanting to submit a tip for someone that you care about and you don't want them to know, or you don't want to, break confidentiality or anything like that, you can submit a tip that way. It's just another means of getting a hold of us. It's just like the 24/7 hotline. You can text into it, and we would respond the same way we pick up a hotline call, and we respond to that at all hours of the night. And we also have the domestic violence, National Domestic Violence Hotline. National Domestic Violence Hotline on the top. This one here is our 24/7 hotline that we have. This is our Facebook page. It kind of just shows you what we do as a day-to-day organization, what grantors fund us, what we do with their money, what we do at our staff meetings, what we talk about, and things that we have, like events that we have going on and things like that. Then we also have the Options Domestic and Sexual Violence webpage, and that here, it's just, I'll get to the mobile services. Mobile services are the 24-hour helpline. That would be the calling in. We have the text HOPE to 847-411, and you can, if you wanted to text in lieu of using the app, you could text 847-411 to, and we would answer the same way that we pick up a hotline call. And then we have the virtual advocate. The virtual advocate's just another, like, if we weren't able to get to their community and we weren't able to get to them, or they weren't able to get to us, we'd be able to have like a webcam chat, just be a little more personal, and they'd be able to chat with us that way. Say like it was like snowing or it was raining or anything like that, just weather conditions. We have the live web chat. Again, that's the tip 411, that's the tip 411. And that would be just texting in to like submitting a tip. And then I believe, that's it on the mobile chat features. And let me see, I believe there was one more feature on there. That was and we also have the suicide prevention hotline too. That's not an options exclusive resource. It's just something we put, just like the National Domestic Violence Hotline too. Those are just two resources that we put on there, just so if like we actually had one day where our lines, like the internet and our lines were completely down. It was actually a few months back when we had that bad windstorm and it like started fires everywhere. Like it was that day, and like we all our phone lines went down, so we had to refer everyone to the National Domestic Violence Hotline until we got our phones back up. But yeah, so
It's an everyday occurrence out here.
Did you have any questions for me?
How many counties are you covering?
We cover 18, but the three that we don't travel to are like Ellis, Russell, and because I know that those are the two counties that I'm going to be directly in now. Ellis, Russell, and I guess Hayes. I guess it would just be Ellis, Russell, and Hayes. I guess not the counties, but those three towns that we don't travel to, I guess. But we do. I guess it's just kind of. But since we split the counties, Isaac's got 9 and I've got 9, so I'll be like on the east side of Kansas and he'll be up here on the west side. So he'll be in St. Francis and Colby and out there in Sharon Springs and Goodland and things like that. So this is my last time up here, but it was nice to meet you guys.
You too.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for giving me some of your time.
Thanks. Drive safe on your way back.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, enjoy your day.
Thank you, you too.
See you. Thank you.
Good morning.
Ready
Good
for
morning.
you.
Are you ready for us?
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you so much for letting us come and meet with you for a few minutes this morning. My name's Kaylee Connor. I'm the Manager of Education, Outreach, and Prevention at High Plains Mental Health Center. This is James Gershner, who is also on our staff. Nice to meet you all as well.
Meet you.
Walt Hill, our executive director, sends his regards and his regrets. He had some unexpected circumstances come up and wasn't able to be here this morning in person. So he sent us instead, and we appreciate the chance to be here and to meet with you. Does anyone need another copy of the packet we sent by mail? No? Okay. Very good. So this is our annual report, which we come and provide you every year, as Cheyenne County is one of the 20 counties that has the interlocal agreement, essentially, to form and to operate High Plains Mental Health Center. So we're gonna start with our annual report, which is the colored document here that has some maps and some graphs on it. 2021 was a very busy year for us at High Plains Mental Health Center. Of course, 2021 kind of still in the pandemic to some extent, kind of hopefully shifting out of that. But definitely seeing an increase in people who are maybe struggling with different things. So for 2021, we saw about 6,829 people total throughout the 20 counties. As you can see, that was an increase of a couple hundred over 2020. And so we are seeing a continuing upwards trend in the number of people we're seeing and in the number of people who are reaching out to us for support and for health care, mental health care. In Cheyenne County last year, we served a total of 63 people. So those individuals could have been seen we do have an on-site, what we call a community outreach office here in St. Francis. We have a therapist by the name of Bob Fossum who sees clients twice a month over at the hospital. So those clients could have been seen here locally with Bob. Or they can choose to travel into Goodland or one of our other access points, whatever they are more comfortable with or whatever they prefer. One benefit, if there are any benefits of COVID, not really a benefit, but maybe more a silver lining, is telehealth has been much more available and acceptable. And so people can now choose to come in and see a therapist face to face, or if they would rather not travel, or if that's not convenient for their work schedules, they can literally see a therapist on Zoom from their cell phone or from their device. And they can do that from home or from work or from their car or wherever is more convenient for them. So we have seen that's very beneficial in this very rural area where people previously might have had to travel a little bit to seek care. Some additional data about Cheyenne County here. Let me pull that up. So yeah, 63 clients in 2021 for Cheyenne County. Just a slight drop there. We saw 67 clients in 2020. And you can see some of the other documentation there. One thing we did want to talk to you about a little bit, kind of just, this is information purposes only. On the back of this page here, and I apologize, it's kind of a lengthy narrative, so you can read this at your convenience if you're interested. High Plains Mental Health Center, last year, we were notified that we received 2 grants from the federal government. So this would be through SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration, which is a branch of HHS, Health and Human Services. Long story short, again, with COVID, there was a lot of money made available for mental health purposes nationwide. And we kind of decided, that money was going to go somewhere to help some region of the United States. So we went ahead and applied for 2 of those grants, and we're very surprised to hear we actually received both of them. And so simultaneously, we've been working to implement what is called Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic, which is a mouthful, CCBHC services for short. And what that does is it does not supplant or replace any of the existing services and supports that High Plains has always operated, but it kind of raises the bar and tries to take it up to the next level in terms of availability of services. And there's a very strong emphasis on substance abuse services with the CCBHC model. And so we have really expanded our substance use treatment program. We have brought in an additional psychiatrist who focuses on medication-assisted treatment, and some additional service providers and peer support options, in addition to some other new providers, including what's known as a mobile ACT team, which will be kind of a crisis response team, essentially, that we've been able to onboard as part of the CCBHC grant. And then we received a second grant, and this is a block grant, essentially. We called it Hope in the Heartland, and this is a grant that I've actually been managing since we received it towards the end of last year, with implementation beginning in January, essentially, for both of these grant programs. But for the block grant, we're focusing more so on schools and school-based services, and really trying to reach youth and students who we believe perhaps could have been disproportionately affected by the pandemic to some extent and might need some additional supports in the schools. So what we've been doing is we've been reaching out to regional school districts, including, I do believe we've been in communication with St. Francis schools, seeking to implement telehealth services directly within the school buildings. And what that can do is if a child is identified as needing some mental health care, they would be able to access that care from school with parental consent, of course. But that saves time. It's less disruptive to the student because we're not having to pull them out of school, travel them somewhere, bring them back. So that's been really beneficial, and that's a major focus of the second grant, which is a block grant. Between the two grants in total, I believe we're onboarding about 35 new staff members throughout the region, which is huge, and that's very significant for High Plains. And the vast majority of those are direct providers, so therapists, case managers, some of those types of positions. So both of these grants are 2-year grants. They will essentially expire toward the end of 2023. We do want to message to the counties that we do not have any intention to shift the additional funding burden onto the counties when the grants run out. We will not do that. That is not something we're interested in. And there are some other funding models for sustainability that we are looking into, but we will not shift that burden to the counties. And so I wanted to say that because that might be a question you're sitting there thinking as you're seeing all the growth we've been doing over the last couple years. Does anyone have any questions about the grants or the annual report or anything I've talked about so far?
I do not.
Okay. No, okay. All right. I'll let James quickly introduce himself and talk about some of the other services we do offer that are more focused on kind of outreach and community education, in addition to, of course, the direct services that we do provide.
Sure. Thank you, Kaylee. As Kaylee mentioned, High Plains has hired up a lot of new staff, myself being one of them, so I'm very thankful for the grant for me having a job. But I work for Kaylee in the Prevention, Education, and Outreach Department. Kaylee kind of has 2 jobs, which is not busy managing the grant. She's